Regardless of whether you use the plugin or the local install of Pinegrow, you're still going to need an installation of WordPress. So the easiest way to do that is by going to LocalWP and downloading this application. You can select the platform that you want to use, whether it's Windows, Mac, or Linux. Put in your information, say get it now. Once you've installed it, it opens up a window kind of like this. To create a new website, you can say add local site, and I'm just going to say create a new site. Call it my local site. You can choose preferred environment, or you can do custom environment to select your PHP version, your web server type, your database type. I'm just going to do preferred for right now. I'll give it a username and password. And add site. And a few seconds later, you'll have a WordPress site all ready to go. Now again, if you're using the plugin version, you can do this on a regular web server. You don't need to go through this step of using a local site. But if you're using the desktop version, this is definitely something that you'll want to do. Now to open up the site, just go over here and click on the WP admin button. Log in. And you can see that you have a pretty clean WordPress installation. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is add some dummy data in here so that you can see what you're doing as you build the theme. To do that, we're going to go and just do a search for theme unit test. And you'll come up with this link from the WordPress Codex and this GitHub page. Both of them take you to the same place. Right here, this is what you're going to want. So you can either use GitHub to clone the data, or you can just right-click on this XML file and save it. And you'll be able to use that. We'll come back into WordPress, Tools, Import, install the WordPress importer, run it, choose File, select that XML file that we just downloaded, upload and import. Here I'm going to download and import file attachments. We're going to give the posts all the same user, or you can create some user accounts yourself if you want. I'll hit submit, and a few minutes later, we'll have a WordPress installation populated with dummy data. And there we have it. Let's take a look at what it created for us. We'll come over to posts, and you'll see that we have a bunch of different posts. Pages, we've got some pages set up here. And media, we've got some media library items created. If we look on the front end, you can see that we have menu created and all sorts of stuff in here. So the thing that I like about this dummy data is that each of these posts and pages actually has a purpose. So we can see, if we come in here, we've got a bunch of different buttons to look at. We've got multi-level menus to test. General lorem ipsum stuff. We have pages with and without comments. We even have pages with Greek characters, pages showing image alignments. All these things are really good as you're building your theme to take a look at and just make sure that everything works the way that you expect it to work. Now, if you want to use the Pinegrow WordPress plugin, just go to pinegrow.com, click on the download button, and there will be a link for the Pinegrow WordPress plugin. We'll save that. Add new plugin. Upload it. Install it. And activate it. Once you've done that, just come over to the Pinegrow item in the sidebar, Settings and License, put in your email address and your serial code, and you'll be ready to go. I'm going to deactivate this so that we can see what it looks like when you use the desktop version of Pinegrow. So we'll just deactivate that. And when I launch Pinegrow, I can click on this button for my interactive tutorials. I definitely recommend using these if you're not familiar with Pinegrow already, where you can come in and say New Project. What we're going to want is a plain HTML project, and I'm not even going to use normalize. We'll just use regular index.html. Once that opens up, we'll save this file. I'm going to save it in a directory called PG Project, and hit save. Now it's going to ask, do I want to open this project as a project? Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. Now, the thing that you definitely want to remember is that you need to save this as index.html. Otherwise, things get a little bit wonky with the theme. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do to set things up using Pinegrow Desktop is just come over here to the WordPress theme builder and say activate WordPress. We're going to do a project type of theme. I'll give it a name. We'll give it a slug. And we're going to do a theme folder. And for this, we're going to want to put this inside of that local WordPress installation that we just created. So this is the trickiest part right here. I'm going to copy out this theme slug, and you'll see why in a minute. We'll come back to LocalWP, and here I want to go to my site folder. This is going to open up Windows Explorer or your Finder, and it's going to show you the folder that holds your local sites. You want to go to the app folder, public, and here this is your WordPress installation. In here, you're going to go to WP Content, Themes, and now I need to create the folder where we're going to save that theme. So I just create a new folder in there, call it My Example Theme. This really should be the same name as the slug that you chose inside of Pinegrow. I'm going to copy this entire directory path, paste it there inside my theme folder. For site URL, we'll come over to our browser and we'll grab the URL of the site there, paste that in. Our master page is going to be index.html. For theme version, I like to start off with 0.0.1, and we'll let this auto increment the version on every export. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it manually if you want, but I just find that this is easier. Everything else we're going to leave the same. We'll hit Save Settings. And now we'll go to WordPress and export the theme. And it's going to say that files were added to the project. When I click OK, we can now come over to our Windows Explorer again, and you'll see inside of there, it's written the basic files that we need for our theme. So we've got our header PHP, our footer.php, a functions, a style, a CSS directory with the style.css, and an includes directory with the custom.php and some helpers in there. You can also see the same thing by coming over to Pinegrow and going to the Projects tab, and you'll see these are the files that are inside your Pinegrow project. And if you open up this PG export, this is going to show you what it's exporting to your WordPress theme directory. So this doesn't actually show you the theme directory, but this is kind of like a temporary holding spot for all the things that get exported. Now, the next thing you want to consider is whether you want to take this theme plugin settings, and instead of hard coding this path, you might want to use a variable for this. You might also want to use a variable for your site URL. The reason why is because if you're using multiple computers, you probably want to use that variable so that you can switch out the directory names. The way I like to do this is by canceling out of here. If you come over to Support and Settings, you scroll down, you've got these Define User Variables, and I can type in my variable name, my new theme equals the path to my theme. I might also want to do my new theme URL and put in the URL there. To use these variables, we're going to save this, come back to my WordPress theme settings. And the syntax for this is just a little bit odd. We're going to do $, curly brackets, variable name, and the same thing for the site URL. My new theme -URL. There we go. So now if I clear this theme folder, you'll see that it's cleared everything out. So it does know about that variable that I used. And if I come back to WordPress and export the theme again, you'll see that it's done it. Now, you don't have to use those variables if you don't want to, but I thought that I would just show it to you there because it is a nice trick and it is very convenient to have. I work on both a Windows machine and a Mac laptop, so I find it really convenient to be able to define those variables and work between them on multiple projects and not have to worry about redefining these plugin settings each time I switch things around. So that's it. Now that you have this done, you're ready to start building your theme inside of Pinegrow, whether you're using Pinegrow Desktop or the Pinegrow WordPress plugin.